In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on January 16, 2026, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Los Angeles Clippers versus Toronto Raptors. The Los Angeles Clippers head into Scotiabank Arena on Friday to take on the Toronto Raptors in what feels like a classic check the injury report twice kind of matchup before you touch the spread. The Clippers are coming in hot after beating the Hornets and Wizards, and with 11 wins in their last 13 games, they are playing like one of the form teams in the league right now. Toronto has been quietly solid too, losing to the 76ers, then taking care of the Pacers, and winning 8 of their last 12 overall as they get ready to host the Lakers after this one. The injury situation, at least as it is laid out here, is messy on both sides, which is why lineup news is so important before tip. The Clippers are said to still be missing Bradley Beal, Derrick Jones Jr., and Bogdan Bogdanovic, with Kawhi Leonard, John Collins, and Ivica Zubac all listed as questionable. On the Raptors side, R.J. Barrett and Jacob Poeltl are ruled out, while Garrett Temple, Emmanuel Quickley, and Jamison Battle are all questionable. So, even before you think about style or trends, you are looking at 2 rotations that could shift a lot based on who actually gets cleared. Here is the thing though, even with that cloud hanging over everything, the Clippers enter as one of the hottest teams in the league. When a group has won 11 of 13, there is usually a deep confidence underneath the night-to-night noise, and that often shows up in how they handle road spots like this. That does not mean the Raptors are an easy fade. Toronto has been strong in the underdog role lately, covering 7 of their last 8, which shows they have consistently outperformed expectations. So you are basically weighing a hot team that has been winning outright against a feisty home underdog that keeps cashing tickets. The original logic leans toward the idea that, when both teams are at their best, the Clippers remain the better side. Toronto's recent success as a dog makes them tempting, but the point is that you would need a bigger number on the Raptors to feel like you are getting real value for the risk. If the spread is not giving you much of a cushion, it becomes harder to justify stepping in front of a team that has been on a roll like Los Angeles. So despite respecting the Raptors' ability to hang around and cover as underdogs, the lean still ends up on the Clippers' side, especially with their overall recent form and higher ceiling when healthy. As our first pick for this matchup, the Los Angeles Clippers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Clippers are averaging 112.3 points on 47.3% shooting from the field and allowing 113.3 points on 46.8% shooting. They are connecting on 36.8% of their threes and an impressive 84.4% from the free throw line. Defensively, they are allowing opponents to hit 36.3% from deep and pulling down 40.3 rebounds per game. That profile hints at a team that can score efficiently enough but often plays in games where the pace and overall scoring do not automatically spike into extreme totals. The Raptors' stat line is similar in some ways, with small differences that matter more at the margins. Toronto is averaging 113.9 points per game on 47.1% shooting and giving up 112.1 points on 46.1% shooting. They are shooting 33.9% from beyond the arc and 77.4% at the stripe. On defense, they are allowing 34.4% from 3 and grabbing 43.2 rebounds per game, which helps them limit second-chance explosions. So both teams sit in that middle band where they can score, but neither projects as an automatic track meet machine purely off the numbers. Now, when you layer the injury uncertainty on top of those stats, it can actually lean the game toward a slightly lower scoring tone rather than a higher one. Missing or limited key creators and primary scoring options often means more half-court sets, slower decision-making, and a little less rhythm on both ends. If both rotations are shorthanded or patchy, you can easily see more grinding possessions, more time spent working through sets, and fewer clean transition opportunities. The rebounding numbers for both teams also point to the potential for possessions to be reasonably well contained, which trims down the number of easy putbacks and runouts that tend to blow totals up. So, with both offenses sitting in the low to mid 100 teens on average, decent overall field goal percentages, but not elite three-point shooting from Toronto, and the possibility of disrupted lineups, the overall expectation leans toward a game that stays under a typical projected total. It is not that scoring will vanish, it is more that the balance of efficiency, pace, and injuries tilts slightly toward a total that falls short of a loftier number rather than zooming past it. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Minnesota Timberwolves versus Houston Rockets. The Minnesota Timberwolves head to Toyota Center on Friday night to take on the Houston Rockets, and the timing could not be much better for the visitors. Chicago-style cold outside, Houston heat inside, but all the pressure is on the home side here. Minnesota comes in off wins over the Spurs and the Bucks, with the Spurs waiting again after this one, and they have taken 17 of their last 23 games, which is a serious run in any conference. Houston is moving in the opposite direction right now. They lost to the Thunder, squeaked past the Bulls, and have the Pelicans next. But more worryingly, they have dropped 4 of their last 5 games. What is actually going on with the Rockets? People were asking that after they were hammered 111-91 at home by Oklahoma City, a game that never really felt in doubt. That was their 4th loss in 5, and it kind of undercuts the good work they did earlier in the season, because winning just 7 of their last 15 suddenly makes the whole picture look a lot more average. Now they have to deal with Minnesota on the second night of a back-to-back, and that is a spot that has not treated them kindly. They have lost all 3 games they have played with no rest this season, and those losses came against Utah, Dallas, and Sacramento, which are not exactly the very top of the league hierarchy in this context. On the injury front, the Timberwolves are supposed to be without Anthony Edwards again, while the Rockets have ruled out Dorian Finney-Smith and Tari Eason once more. Even with that note, Minnesota is heading into this feeling full of confidence after crushing the Bucks without their leading scorer. They have every reason to like their chances against a stumbling Rockets team that is tired, out of rhythm, and playing its second game in as many nights. Form-wise, Minnesota has simply been in far better shape than Houston lately. Over their last 15 games, they are 10-5 straight up, which is described as the second best record in the league during that stretch, tied with a handful of other teams. Ant-Man and Julius Randle are both said to be playing extremely well, and the opinion here is that at least one of them is heading to the All-Star game. Edwards sitting out against Milwaukee did not change much. The Timberwolves still went into the Bucks' house and thumped Giannis and company 139-106. With him projected to come back and Minnesota holding a 12-3 straight-up edge in the last 15 meetings, plus covering in 12 of 18 head-to-head, the argument is that backing Minnesota to win outright makes a lot of sense. Honestly, you could talk yourself into a Rockets bounce back in a different spot, but with their current form this shaky, the lean is that even a short-handed Timberwolves squad is well placed to take advantage of Houston's issues rather than the other way around. As our first pick for this matchup, the Minnesota Timberwolves to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Minnesota is averaging 120.3 points per game on 48.6% shooting from the field, while allowing 114.6 points on 46% shooting. From beyond the arc, they are hitting 37.4%, and they are at 75.3% from the free throw line. Defensively, they are allowing opponents to shoot 35.3% from deep and are pulling down 44.8 rebounds per game. Houston is not far behind on the offensive side. The Rockets are averaging 117.3 points on 47.8% shooting and giving up 110.8 points on 46.2% shooting. They are knocking down 36.3% of their threes and 76.8% at the line. On defense, they are allowing 35.6% from downtown and dominating the glass more than Minnesota with 49.4 rebounds per game. So what does that all suggest for the total? You have 2 teams that can clearly score, both sitting in the 110-plus range on average, with efficient field goal percentages and respectable three-point numbers. At the same time, neither side is giving up truly catastrophic shooting from deep, and both rebound well enough that second chance points do not spiral completely out of control. Houston's strong rebounding, in particular, can actually help limit extra possessions for Minnesota, which in turn puts a natural cap on how wild the scoring can get. Factor in the Rockets being on a back-to-back, with tired legs often slowing pace and tightening jump shots just a bit, and you can picture more half-court possessions and slightly less free-flowing offense on both sides. When you put it all together, the numbers paint a picture of offenses that are dangerous but not unstoppable, matched with defenses that are solid enough and rebounding that is strong enough to keep the game from turning into a pure track meet for all 4 quarters. That combination leans toward a total that comes in a little lower than a high projected number might suggest, especially if the back-to-back spot drags the tempo down in the second half. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Washington Wizards versus Sacramento Kings. The Washington Wizards visit Golden One Center on Friday night to take on the Sacramento Kings, and this one feels like a mismatch on paper even if the spread makes you gulp a little at first glance. Washington is coming off losses to the Suns and Clippers, with the Nuggets waiting next, and they have dropped 34 of their last 45 games, which is a serious slide by any standard. Sacramento, in contrast, has picked up wins over the Knicks and Lakers, has the Trailblazers on deck, and is riding a 3-game winning streak that has finally given them some momentum. Injuries are a big part of why this line looks the way it does. The Wizards are still listed as missing Tristan Vukcevic, Bilal Coulibaly, Chris Middleton, and Trae Young, which leaves them looking extremely thin on paper. The Kings have ruled out Isaiah Stevens and Keegan Murray, but there is some optimism that Domantas Sabonis could return for this game, which would be a massive boost to their interior and their playmaking. So you have one team that is still stuck in a long injury tunnel and another that might be getting its key hub back just as it strings wins together. Washington's season has basically turned into a long downward spiral, and the injuries only make it harder for them to stabilize anything. Sacramento, on the other hand, has come to life with those 3 straight wins, and even if they have not suddenly become a perfect team, they do look far more dangerous than they did earlier. The hesitation, as the original analysis admits, is the number itself. The Kings are described as a bad team against the spread, sitting at 17 to 23 to 1 against the spread on the season, so trusting them to win by margin is not always a comfortable experience. Still, context matters. This has been their best week of the season. They have stacked 3 wins in a row, and there is an expectation that Sabonis will be back on the floor, which changes the feel of their offense and their rebounding. The Wizards, meanwhile, are called awful outright, and they are not just losing, they are also struggling for bettors at 15 to 24 against the spread this season. They already have 16 road losses, and asking a beat-up roster that is already struggling to now go on the road and stay close to a resurgent Kings group is a big ask. So even if you are not thrilled about laying a chunk of points with Sacramento, the matchup and the injury situation both lean the same way. The Kings have the healthier, more confident roster, they are finally in rhythm, and the Wizards are so depleted that it is genuinely hard to picture them keeping pace for a full 4 quarters with a home team on a roll. As our first pick for this matchup, the Sacramento Kings to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Wizards are averaging 112.6 points per game on 46.1% shooting from the field. They are allowing 123.9 points on 47.2% shooting, which is a huge number and points to a defense that simply cannot get enough stops over time. From beyond the arc, Washington is hitting 35.5% of its threes and 77.3% from the free throw line. On the other end, they are allowing opponents to shoot 36.3% from deep and are grabbing 44.1 rebounds per game. That profile screams pace and points. They score enough to keep games moving, but they surrender so many clean looks and so many points that their matchups very often drift into shootout territory, especially when the opponent has any kind of offensive pulse. Sacramento's side of the ledger is not exactly low scoring either. The Kings are averaging 110.2 points on 46.3% shooting while giving up 120.7 points on 49.2% shooting. They are shooting 34.9% from three-point range and 76.2% from the free throw line. Defensively, they are listed as allowing 4.8% shooting from deep and are pulling in 40.6 rebounds per game. Even if you only look at the field goal and points allowed numbers, you can see the pattern. The Kings give up a high shooting percentage and a big points average, which usually means their games stay open for a long time. Their own offense is solid enough that they can trade baskets, and their defense is leaky enough that opponents rarely get shut down. When you put both profiles together, you get a matchup where one team regularly gives up well over 120 points and the other sits above 120 allowed as well. The Wizards' poor defense and fast style combine with the Kings' high concession numbers to create a natural recipe for scoring. Rebounding is good enough on both sides that missed shots often turn into quick second chance points rather than long, grinding empty trips. With Sacramento on a 3-game winning streak and feeling better offensively, and Washington's defense struggling to slow anyone, it is easy to imagine both teams finding enough success to push the combined score past a typical projected line. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.